So it was a 5-minute talk. The only thing that I found important in this was that Eileen Gleeson and Jan-Willem van Eden would have the same extension as I got, because we're a team, the three of us. Together we guide this team. Of course, I need to take final decisions, but we do everything together, and without them I would be lost. So that was my only concern, that their contract would be extended as well, and that was, that was a no-brainer actually. So it came out, and I'm happy that everybody's so enthusiastic. But for me, it was a logical, very logical thing to do. There was no cell in my body that that would think of not going with the squad.
Right. Nicola from BBC, do you want to ask a question?
Your mic is on mute, I think.
Yeah. Nicola McCarthy. Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry. Thank you. Vera, just in terms of the delay in the tournament, just what kind of impact is that going to have for you and the squad, do you think?
It's major. I realized that now that I did not answer the second question of the previous one. This is a huge game. It's Germany. At this moment, to me, it's the best team in the world. They were in a dip recently. They had a transition period, but Martina Vos has this team right on track again. And the way they play, the variety that they play, the quality of how they, how would I say that? How they dominate the game in every aspect. To me, it's the best footballing team at the world at this moment. So it's huge. It's very difficult. But we will do everything in our power to give them the resistance that we can give them, and then we'll see how far it goes.
Paul Dollery, 42.
Hi Vera, how are you?
Hi, fine, thank you.
We've seen some really good attacking play from Ireland in the qualifying game so far. Can we assume that against the team of Germany's quality that the approach will be a little different? You'll need to be a bit more cautious. And just as a second question, if you don't mind, do you have a timeline on the injuries to Megan Campbell and Chloe Mustaki?
The first question was the attacking game. The thing is, I don't think in terms like now we play an attacking game and the next game we don't play an attacking game. We play an opponent. We find a strategy to that opponent, and within that we give our best. And the principles will be the same. It's whether Germany will stop us from doing it, which is more likely from Germany than from Montenegro. So the philosophy will not change. It's just what does the opponent let us do, and. The prediction, let's say it like that, the prediction is that Germany will push us back, and that we need to put something against that. But it will not be the case that we will park the bus and just kick the ball forward. That will not be the intention. Maybe that's the outcome because of the difference in strength, but that will never be the intention of our game. The intention of our game is at every moment of the game, we take the best out of our players, of what we are capable of. And I hope that we can show that against Germany as well.
About Chloe and Megan then, their injury updates?
Well, Chloe has ruptured her cruciate ligament, so that will take 9 months as from March. But her recovery is going really well. She's right on track. We guide her whole process. So from the physio, and when she comes back to the moment that she can start running and that she can start developing from there, then I will come back into the picture also to help her to get her rehab in the best way possible. The other, Megan Campbell, is really right on track. She's already training with the squad. which is great, but she's not ready for Germany. But I've got very often contact with her, and it is amazing how our surgeon has been able to repair her injury, because it was a very rare injury that normally, and she said that in the press, so I can say that also, that normally only happen with old people, and she's a top athlete. So there was a long time that the top surgeons have doubted what to do with that injury, and it looks like they've made the right choice, and we're very grateful for that. Chelsea is guiding her very, very well. We have no impact in that, but we follow it, of course, because she's an important player for us.
Owen Ryan from RTE.
Hi, Vera. Vera, do we need to get a result in Germany, or is it really more about the Ukraine game?
It is more about the Ukraine game, but of course we will never leave an opportunity should we can get a result in Germany, because every point will count for the best seconds. The 3 best seconds will go straight ahead to the finals. But the key game is Ukraine. And with COVID, it's very unsure how things will develop. But that is the game where we cannot lose. If we don't lose in Ukraine, we will proceed to at least the playoffs. That's the situation at this moment. But any point that we can steal from Germany, of course, will help us.
Kaylin Coffey for extra time.
Hi, Vera. On Friday, it'll be a year since you took over the job. Has your style of play developed? Yeah. Has your style
of play... today?
No, like next Friday, or... on the 4th.
Next Friday. Okay. That's a moment to celebrate.
Has your style of play developed in the way you intended within the year, or is there still things you think you need to work on?
There's a lot that we need to work on. I show my surprisement that's already a year ago, because at the end we have played 4 games, so I've seen the players 4 times between 5 and 10 days. That's all we saw each other. The rest is online. With COVID since March, I've not been in Ireland because I cannot travel. So everything has been from video and from talks, and that is the great thing of having chosen for Eileen. And now I'm even more happy that I've chosen an assistant from Ireland, although we did not know each other yet back then. But she's amazing, and she's covering everything in Ireland. So that is how we work at the moment. It doesn't feel like that we've been working for a year, because we've missed the players now for half a year, for 6 months. And we need to see how they come back. It looks great. They all play. There's only 1 or 2 who are not playing, but not the core players. Players make choices. For example, I'm so happy and grateful that North Carolina has seen the huge problems that Denise O'Sullivan would get if they would keep her there for the next range of games. So they allowed her to go on loan, and she's going to Brighton with Rihanna Jarrett and Megan Connolly. So that's great to have them all 3 in the same club. But I'm so grateful that North Carolina saw that this period for Ireland is so important, that they let her go for these months, where initially there was a no-go. So I explained the situation, and Denise would have been out of the next 9 weeks in which all the 3 games will be played. She would have been in quarantine for 6 weeks. So top athlete, 6 out of 9 weeks being locked home, that is something that is a no-goer. So, and they realize that, and Paul Riley, her coach, is an amazing person. And I'm so grateful that he's seen it and that we could discuss it, and that he took the decision to influence the management of North Carolina to let her go for these 3 months, because it's so important for Ireland, and they all saw the importance of Denise for Ireland. So that's also football. Football is not only against each other. There's also people who really work with us. And again, I would like to highlight that.
Aaron Clark, WNL.
Sorry?
It's Aaron Clark is coming on now.
Okay.
Vera, in terms of the preparations for the camp, obviously with Ireland not having a elite athlete exemption, how will preparations be handled? Will the pre-camp be done abroad?
Yeah. We assemble in Germany. We first had the intention to assemble just over the border in the Netherlands, because Essen, where we play, is just an hour away from there, to not have, let's say, constantly Germans around us. But as you all know, the Netherlands is now orange area, so we immediately switch on, and we have now a camp 10 kilometers away from that in Germany. It's just a very safe area. There's not a lot of COVID infections. Is that the right word? So we go to Duisburg, and we will have our whole camp there. That saves us 40 times the risk of getting infected on the plane or on an airport, because there's 40 flights less than assembling in Ireland. So that has been a choice that we made quite early. From the moment that we knew that this game would be played during this time, I proposed to not take any extra risk than we have to take. But there is of course also problems with players going straight to Germany, who have to quarantine, and one of them was Louise. Another one is Julianne Russell. That's a huge problem, whether it would be Ireland or Germany, because she can come here, and we would arrange that she would first go to Ireland and then with the bubble go to Germany. The same for Heather Payne, the same for Denise O'Sullivan before her loan. But she cannot re-enter Australia. That's a huge problem. She cannot go back home. And because Australia only lets 350 people each day into the country, and there's a huge queue of thousands of people who want to enter and want to go home. So we're still busy with it, finding a solution. The association is working really hard with the Australian Embassy, and of course with the employer of Julianne, if we could pay her unpaid leave, or because we get funds from FIFA for that, to cope with the problems of COVID. But yeah, that's all things together. That is the decision we had to take. And there's huge problems on all the different areas, but the key thing is that we will play as far as it looks now, and that we take the best out of all the opportunities and have a very, very good place in Germany. We found that with 5 pitches next door, a sports center which is fully equipped. We will have our own floor with the players. All COVID restrictions have been taken care of, and yeah, that's the only thing that we can do to prepare and organize things as well as we can.
Okay, Gary Spain, next up.
Hi, Vera. You mentioned Ukraine has been must not lose to pretty much guarantee a playoff, but do you have a points total in mind from the 3 games that would give us a great chance of getting one of the 3 best runners-up spots? Or is even winning the group, is that totally unrealistic?
Winning the group is unrealistic. We have to know where we stand to succeed, because Germany is so far ahead of us with, 8 European Championships and 2 World Championships and a gold medal at the Olympic, whatever they have. So we have to be realistic. We want to take everything that we can from the German game. But the key game is Ukraine. And if we win from Ukraine and we steal a point from Germany, then we have a huge chance to go straight to England. But then still, if there's playoffs, then we go for that.
Brandon Graham, next up. Mike now? Working now? Try again. Try again, Brandon, there.
Gareth, you just sent a message there, Gareth, saying his mic isn't working.
His mic isn't working, sorry.
Can I just ask Vera how much confidence will Niamh Fahey take from being Liverpool captain for the season?
That's amazing, as an Irish player to captain Liverpool. Unbelievable, and we all congratulated her from the deepest of our hearts. So it must give her a huge boost. She had some problems last year, let's say before COVID, so it's this year, but it feels last year. With her foot, she had some foot injuries, but she could play on. But it had an impact on her, of course, because if you have always pain, that's completely out now. She's fully recovered, and she's fully back in. And gaining this captaincy band is just, it must be a boost for her, and she's so happy with it.
Just I'll give you a couple more questions for the live. Will, have you got another question?
Vera, I just wanted to ask you about the logistics of things. I know you mentioned about players coming in and forth, and it seems to be that every year we go on, the Irish squad is expanding into new territories and new leagues. How impressed have you been that the Irish players have been able to go abroad and adapt into these different leagues? And what sort of skills and other things are they bringing back which are helping you as a manager?
Well, key is that the best players get the best positions. So I've mentioned that before, just going abroad does that not always say that that is a step forward. Because if you always play and you go to a huge league and you're on the bench and you never play, that does not help you to develop as a player. If you don't play, you cannot perform at your top. But the players that play, they show that they just make a step in their performance, and they go up. There's something coming in, yeah. And they go up in their performance and become top athletes, like Katie McGabe. She has been amazing in the steps that she has made and the choices that she has made in the past to get where she is now. So she was one of the players that ended up on the bench, and she decided to go to Glasgow to play on loan so that she could come back and being a lineup player in Arsenal. If she would have stayed in Arsenal and not playing, she wouldn't have been able to develop. So the principle of just going abroad, whatever it takes, that's not my philosophy. My philosophy is you need to find the best place for you where to play. You have to play. If you don't play, then it's very difficult to develop.
We'll take two more questions from the live. Nicola from BBC and Paul Dollery from 42. Go ahead, Nicola.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. Vera, just kind of all of that considered, just in terms of the kind of team that you put together. You mentioned Eileen, of course, and just, as a team, how do you look to plan out the kind of next year, really, I suppose, beyond the qualifiers?
Well, that's why I extended my contract. So we put everything in to qualify. And that's the only thing that counts. And this is the moment for us. And I'm so lucky to be part of this process because the players are ready to make the step. And you can see it on the choices, the will from Denise O'Sullivan to help influencing that she could come over here instead of playing there for the coming 3 months. That shows the determination of everybody. During COVID, we had groups to discuss things, and each group had a captain to organize things, like knowing all their playing minutes, knowing their friendly games, because it's impossible to see it for us. Having video calls with them. So we had a group of players in Germany, we had a group of players playing overseas, we had a group of England, Scotland. Of course, the home base players had their own group. So that worked really well because the players take responsibility and they send in all their details and they discuss and they pick up the phone when they find problems or when they need help. And from our side, we've been in constant contact through apps, of course, through video calls, through discussing things. But on the other hand, I've been very cautious of not being on their backside all the time when they were dealing with the problems at the club. And our games being so far away. So it's only from now on that we will have more contact related to the next game. And before it was more like, how do you do with COVID? What is your training regime? do you need help from us? Do you not need help from us? Then we leave it. Do you need help from us? Then we're there in any sense, whether it was a training program, whether it was a physio, whether it was an individual program to come back. So all the players that needed individually help got that from us. It was a very approach of player to staff. And again, Eileen is taking care of all the Irish-based players, and I take care of the players abroad. And then Eileen and I have several times a day contact. So COVID did not really bother us in that sense. The communication lines have been very short, but of course we don't see each other, and we're not on the pitch with each other. That's 6 months ago, and that is the biggest problem. And we need to find a way to glue that team in 5 days being together with actually only 3 good training sessions. So, but that's our job, and that's what we're paid for. So we will do that again.
Okay. Paul Dollery.
Vera, can you tell us a bit about Ali Murphy, who's one of the new faces in the squad?
Yeah, I am a little bit embarrassed about myself. Ali Murphy was a player in Houston Dash when I was there, and I should have known that she had an Irish passport, but it completely slipped out of my mind. And then Lisa Fallon told me, "Hey, I've got Ali Murphy here on my team. She has an Irish passport," and I thought, "Oh my word, that's true." I just completely out of my mind. So we picked up contact. We have seen all her videos. You can see her highlight video on YouTube, which says a lot. If she makes the lineup, we don't know, but she definitely is an addition to the squad. So that's why we've added her.
We'll have some more information about Ali's background and stuff later on. The FAI will put that out later on, just going to explain that as well. That's kind of it for the live section. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I would like to add something about it, because that's quite nice to know. In Houston Dash, she missed experience on tactical level. That's why she didn't make it in that professional team, and we had to say goodbye. But she had a lot of talent, so I arranged for her that she could go to the Netherlands, where the tactical part of the game is the key thing. The Dutch game misses a lot in women's football, but the tactical part is very well developed, as you can see on the Dutch national team. So she went to Zwolle in the Netherlands, and that actually gave her the boost on the level that she's playing now. Because if you see her playing now and you compare that with when she was in Houston, where we had no time for individual approach, it's amazing what she put in and how she took on the analysis that we made together with her. So she really improved from that. She went to Iceland to get back into the fighting spirit. That is what's really missing in the Netherlands. And her steps have made her make her a better player. So that's another example of a player who really makes choices to become better. And well, now we will meet again, and that's amazing, of course. But if she would have stayed at the level where she was in Houston, she would not have made the squad. She made the decisions to make steps to become a better player. And you can do that as a player. You can take it in your own hands, and she has done that, and it shows. I will invite you to see her highlights on YouTube, and then you will see it.